I raised her kids, paid the mortgage, built a life. She built an escape plan with my old business partner, the same man who betrayed me years ago. When I found the hidden flash drive, I discovered they weren't just stealing my money. They were erasing my entire existence. My name is Kenneth Cooper. I'm 42 years old, and I own Cooper Electric, a company I built from nothing into a 30-man operation serving the greater Phoenix area. For the past 8 years, I've been married to Lindsay, a project coordinator at Southwest Construction Services. Before her, she was married to Travis Drummond, a guy who walked out on her and their 2 kids when Brandon was 11 and Madison was 8. I stepped in, became the father those kids deserved, paid for Brandon's community college, drove Madison to every soccer practice and debate tournament. I thought I was building something solid, something that mattered. Tonight, while Lindsay sits across from Derek Sullivan at some overpriced steakhouse downtown, sipping wine and pretending it's a business dinner, I'm loading the last box in Orion's truck. Derek Sullivan, my former business partner, the guy who helped me wire my first commercial building 12 years ago, before he screwed me out of a $60,000 contract and disappeared into the construction management world. Now he's director of construction services at Lindsay's company, her boss, and apparently, a whole lot more. Ryan Garrett, my best friend since high school, stands in the empty living room, shaking his head. "You sure about this, Ken?" he asks me. "Once you do this, there's no taking it back." I look around the house one last time. The photos are gone from the walls, leaving pale rectangles on the paint. My clothes, my tools, my fishing gear, every single item that proves I existed here has been packed and removed. The bedroom closet is half empty. The garage has a truck-sized gap where my work vehicle used to sit. Even the coffee maker I bought last Christmas is wrapped in newspaper, sitting in a box marked kitchen items. "I'm sure," I tell Ryan. "She made her choice. Now I'm making mine." The timing is perfect. Lindsay texted me 3 hours ago, some garbage about a last-minute dinner meeting with contractors. But I called the restaurant earlier, described her to the hostess. The woman's voice got uncomfortable real quick. "Oh, you mean the couple at table 7? They've been here since 6:30. Order the lobster special. They look very close." Very close. That's one way to put it. I check my watch. 9:45. According to her text, she'll be home by 10:30. That gives me exactly 45 minutes to finish this and get out. Ryan helps me carry the last 2 boxes down his truck, and then we do a final sweep of the house. I'm not leaving anything behind. Not a razor in the bathroom. Not a pair of work boots in the mudroom. Not a single photograph that includes my face. The only thing I leave is an envelope on the kitchen counter, right next to where she always drops her keys. Inside, there's no letter, no explanation, just a printed receipt from Morton Steakhouse. Table for 2. Tonight's date. Wine, appetizers, 2 lobster dinners, chocolate lava cake for dessert. Total, $243. Charged to a credit card I didn't know existed until I checked our bank statements this morning. A card she opened 6 months ago. A card with $8,000 in charges. Hotels, restaurants, gifts I never received. All of it hidden in statements sent to her office email. "That's cold, brother," Ryan says when he sees the receipt. She came back from dinner with her boss to discover I had removed every trace of myself from the house. I say, testing the words out loud. That's the story she's going to tell people. And you know what? It's the truth. Every word of it. Ryan locks the front door behind us. I slip my house key through the mail slot, hearing it clatter on the hardwood floor inside. The sound feels final, like closing a book I'll never open again. As we drive away, I don't look back. Not at the house, not at the neighborhood, not at the life I thought I was living. My phone sits silent in the cup holder. Soon, very soon, it's going to start ringing. Lindsay will walk through that door, call my name, start searching room by room. She'll find the empty closet, the bare walls, the receipt on the counter. And then she'll understand what it feels like to realize everything you took for granted just disappeared while you weren't paying attention. But I'm not disappearing. Not really. I'm just getting started. I'm sitting in Ryan's living room when my phone starts buzzing. 10:47 p.m. Right on schedule. Lindsay's name lights up the screen, and I just watch it vibrate against the coffee table, feeling nothing. Ryan looks at me from the kitchen, where he's making coffee, raises an eyebrow. I shake my head. The buzzing stops. 30 seconds later, it starts again. Then again. By the 4th call, Ryan walks over and picks up the phone, checking the screen. "She's panicking," he says. "Good. I reply. What Lindsay doesn't know is that I can still see everything. The smart home system we installed last year, the security cameras, the doorbell cam, all of it still synced to my tablet. I told her I'd handle the installation and setup. She never bothered to learn how it worked, never thought to check who had admin access. I open the app on my tablet, pull up the living room camera. There she is, standing in the middle of our empty house, holding her phone to her ear. She's wearing that blue dress, the one she claimed made her look professional for client meetings. Her hair is styled differently than this morning, makeup more dramatic. This wasn't a business dinner. This was a date. She lowers the phone, stares at it like it betrayed her, then starts walking through the house. I watch her open the bedroom closet, see the empty hangers swinging. She moves to the bathroom, finds a bear counter, then back to the living room, spinning slowly, taking in all the missing photographs, the gaps on the bookshelves where my things used to be. Her hands go to her mouth. Even through the camera's grainy night vision, I can see her face changing, understanding dawning. She walks to the kitchen, finds the envelope, opens it. Her whole body goes rigid when she sees the receipt. Ryan sits down next to me, looks at the tablet screen. Jesus, Ken, you really did it. She's calling again. I say, watching Lindsay frantically dial. This time I answer. Put on speaker so Ryan can hear. Ken, where are you? Her voice is shaking, but I can't tell if it's fear or anger. What's going on? Why is all your stuff gone? I keep my voice calm, almost friendly. How was dinner, Lindsay? Silence. Long enough that I know she's calculating, trying to figure out what I know, what I don't know. What are you talking about? She finally says. I told you it was a business meeting with contractors. Morton Steakhouse. Table 7. You and Derek Sullivan. Lobster, wine, chocolate lava cake. $243. I pause. That's what I'm talking about. I hear her breathing change. Ken, listen to me. It's not what you think. Derek and I were just discussing the upcoming project, and... Stop. I cut her off. I'm done listening to you lie. Check the kitchen counter. There's a receipt there. Your receipt. From the credit card you opened without telling me. The one with $8,000 in charges. Hotels, jewelry, romantic dinners. Want to explain that? More silence. Then her voice gets harder. You went through my personal accounts? That's a violation of my privacy, Ken. You had no right. I had every right. I say, we're married. Or we were. Past tense now. Where are you? She demands. We need to talk about this face to face. No, we don't. My lawyer will be in touch. You'll be hearing from him Monday morning. Your lawyer. She laughs, but it sounds wrong, forced. You're overreacting. This is insane. Just come home, and we can work this out. That's not my home anymore. I tell her. You made sure of that when you decided Derek was more important than our marriage. Enjoy the house, Lindsay. You're going to need it when you realize it's the only thing you're keeping. I end the call, block her number, and set the phone down. Ryan lets out a low whistle. That was brutal, man. That was necessary. I correct him. She would have kept lying, kept manipulating, kept making me feel like I was crazy for noticing what was right in front of me. On the tablet, Lindsay is pacing the kitchen, phone pressed to her ear again, probably calling Derek, telling him I found out, asking him what to do. I wonder if he'll answer. I wonder if he'll tell her the truth, that he never planned to leave his wife, Michelle, that Lindsay was just convenient, just available. I close the tablet, lean back on Ryan's couch. My phone stays silent now that I've blocked her. The quiet feels strange, but not uncomfortable. What's next? Ryan asks. I think about the file folder in my truck. The one with copies of all those credit card statements, screenshots from her cloud storage that I accessed this morning, photos of her and Derek I'd been collecting for the past 3 weeks. Evidence. Documentation. Proof. Next, I say, I call my lawyer first thing tomorrow. Then I make some other calls. People who need to know what kind of man Derek Sullivan really is. Ryan grins. This is going to get messy, isn't it? It already is messy. I tell him. I'm just making sure everyone sees the mess she made. Saturday morning, I'm back at the house. Not to reconcile, just to collect something I deliberately left behind. Lindsay's car is gone. Good. She's probably at her sister Kate's place, spinning her version of events. I unlock the storage shed out back and dig past old paint cans to find a locked metal box. Inside is a flash drive I found 2 months ago, hidden in Lindsay's winter coat pocket. I'd expected work files. Instead, I found a folder labeled New Start, with lease agreements for a Scottsdale condo, budget spreadsheets showing combined income for her and Derek, and incorporation papers for Sullivan and Cooper Consulting LLC. She was planning to leave me and start a business with Derek, using my last name. The audacity still burns. But worse is the folder called Client Lists, containing confidential Southwest construction information. Names, contacts, project budgets, proprietary bidding strategies. Corporate espionage. A federal crime. I pocket the flash drive and head back to my truck. That's when Brandon pulls up in his Honda. My stepson gets out slowly, looking uncomfortable. "Ken, we need to talk," he says. We sit in my truck with the AC running. Brandon stares at his hands. "I knew," he says quietly. "About Mom and Derek. 7 months." My jaw tightens. 7 months. I saw them at a restaurant in Tempe. The way they were touching, laughing. It wasn't professional. He looks up, eyes red. "Mom called me that night. Said if I told you, she'd stop paying for my college. Said I was misunderstanding what I saw. She blackmailed you." I say flatly. Brandon nods. "I should have told you. You've been more of a father to me than my real dad ever was." I squeeze his shoulder. "This isn't your fault. She put you in an impossible situation. Madison knows too," he continues. "She's been documenting everything on her phone. Screenshots of Mom's texts, photos. She was waiting for the right time to tell you." I call Madison immediately. She answers crying. "This isn't your fault." I tell her firmly. "Your mother made her choices. Can you send me those screenshots?" "Already did," she says. "I emailed them this morning. Like 50 files. Smart kid. Smarter than her mother realized. I promised both kids lunch tomorrow. Promised that whatever happens with the divorce, they'll be taken care of." When I hang up, Brandon looks at me with something like hope. "You really meant that? About us still being your kids?" "Every word. Your mother and I are done. But you two? You're stuck with me." Christopher Warren's office is all leather furniture and law books. He's 51, gray at the temples, and looks like he's heard everything. I set the flash drive on his desk along with printed bank statements and 30 screenshots for Madison. "I need you to look at this. Then tell me how badly I can make this hurt." Warren picks up the flash drive. "Before we start, your wife contacted me 3 days ago wanting to retain me for divorce. I declined due to a conflict of interest. My blood runs cold. She was planning to file first. Standard strategy. Control the narrative. Look like the victim." He plugs in the drive and starts clicking. His jaw tightens. "She was starting a business with Derek Sullivan using your last name and stealing client lists from her employer. It's not a question. Keep looking," I say. He opens more files. "This is proprietary corporate information. If Southwest Construction finds out, she'll be fired and possibly prosecuted." I finish. "That's where you come in." Warren leans back. "What exactly do you want, Mr. Cooper?" "A divorce that protects me financially. Documentation of fraud. And I want Southwest Construction to know what she and Derek were planning. That could cost her everything. Her job, her career, possibly her freedom. She was willing to cost me everything." I reply. "She blackmailed her own son to keep him quiet." Warren starts typing. "All right, let's build your case." We spend 2 hours reviewing everything. The credit card charges, hotel receipts, text messages, the lease agreement, the business papers. But the real weapon is in the bank statements. Lindsay had systematically moved $62,000 from our joint savings into a separate account I didn't know existed. Money meant for Brandon and Madison's education just vanished. "This is financial fraud," Warren says. "She's been stealing marital assets to fund her exit. Can we get it back?" "With this documentation, absolutely. I'll file for emergency orders to freeze all accounts Monday morning. She'll be served divorce papers Tuesday. And I'll submit a formal complaint to Southwest Construction's legal department about the stolen client information." "What about Derek's wife, Michelle?" Warren's smile is thin. "I can't officially advise you to contact her. But if you happen to have evidence that would help her in her own divorce proceedings, that's your personal choice." I drive to a coffee shop and create a throwaway email account. I find Michelle Sullivan on Facebook and send her a message. "Your husband has been having an affair with my wife for at least 7 months. I have documentation if you want to see it." I attach 3 photos Madison sent me. Derek and Lindsay at restaurants, walking into hotels, kissing in his car. The pieces are emotion. Legal filings, financial freezes, corporate complaints, evidence sent to Michelle. Lindsay wanted to control the narrative. Too bad the evidence tells a different story. Monday morning hits like a freight train. I'm at Cooper Electric's office going through work orders when Christopher Warren calls. The accounts are frozen, he says. All of them. Joint savings, joint checking, and that separate account she created. Lindsay tried to withdraw cash at 8:15 this morning. The bank declined the transaction and informed her that emergency court orders were in place. How did she react? According to the branch manager I spoke with, she demanded to speak with someone in charge, claimed there was a mistake, then started yelling about her rights being violated. Warren's tone is almost amused. She left the bank 20 minutes ago. I'd expect a phone call soon. He's right. My phone rings 5 minutes later. Lindsay's number. I let it go to voicemail. She calls again and again. On the fourth attempt, I answer. You froze our accounts? Her voice is shaking with rage. You can't do that, Ken. That's illegal. That's financial abuse. Actually, it's completely legal when one spouse is systematically stealing marital assets. I reply calmly. $62,000, Lindsay. You moved $62,000 into a secret account over 11 months. Did you think I wouldn't find out? Silence. Then her voice changes, gets softer, more calculated. Ken, listen to me. You're misunderstanding the situation. That money was for us, for our future. I was setting aside savings because you never think about planning ahead. Stop lying. I interrupt. I've seen the lease agreement for the Scottsdale condo. I've seen the business incorporation papers for Sullivan and Cooper Consulting. I know about the stolen client list from Southwest Construction. I know everything, Lindsay. Her breath catches. How did you? Where did you get that information? Doesn't matter. What matters is that my lawyer has copies of everything. And so does Southwest Construction's legal department as of 9 o'clock this morning. You sent my employer confidential information? Her voice rises to a shriek. Do you have any idea what you've done? You just cost me my job. You just destroyed my career. No, I correct her. You destroyed your career when you decided to commit corporate espionage with your boyfriend. I just made sure the people you were stealing from found out about it. Derek and I weren't stealing anything. We were planning a legitimate business venture. Using confidential client lists that don't belong to you. That's theft, Lindsay. That's a crime. And when Southwest Construction decides whether to press charges, you can explain to a judge how legitimate your business venture was. She's crying now, or pretending to cry. I can never tell with her anymore. You're destroying me. You're destroying our family. What about Brandon and Madison? What about them? Brandon and Madison are fine. In fact, they're doing better than they have in months because they don't have to keep your dirty secrets anymore. I let that sink in. They knew, Lindsay. Brandon knew for 7 months. Madison knew for weeks. You blackmailed your own son to keep him quiet. You threatened his education if he told me the truth. I was protecting him from unnecessary pain. You were protecting yourself from consequences. There's a difference. I checked my watch. You'll be served with divorce papers this afternoon. My lawyer will be in touch regarding asset division. But given your theft of marital funds and the fraud you committed, I wouldn't expect much beyond your car and whatever personal items you can fit in it. I'll fight this, she says, her voice turning cold. I'll get my own lawyer. I'll tell them about your controlling behavior, your paranoia, how you isolated me from my friends. Go ahead, I tell her. Tell that story to a judge while I present bank statements, credit card records, text messages between you and Derek planning your future together, and testimony from your own children about what you did. See which story the judge believes. I hang up. Block her number again. My hands are shaking slightly, but not from fear. From something else. Relief, maybe, or justice finally being served. My phone buzzes. A text from Michelle Sullivan. We need to talk. Can you meet me today? I type back. Coffee shop on McDowell and 44th. 2 o'clock. Her response is immediate. I'll be there. Michelle Sullivan looks nothing like I expected. I'd imagined someone polished, put together, the kind of woman who'd married a successful construction director. Instead, she's wearing jeans and a faded ASU sweatshirt, her hair pulled back in a messy ponytail. Her eyes are red-rimmed but dry. She's past crying. Thank you for meeting me, she says, sliding into the booth across from me. I needed to see the person who finally gave me proof of what I already knew. How long did you suspect? I asked. 8 months. Maybe longer. She wraps her hand around her coffee cup. Derek started working late, taking calls in the garage, password protecting his phone. Classic signs, right? But every time I asked about it, he made me feel crazy for questioning him. Said I was paranoid, insecure, that his job was stressful and I wasn't being supportive. I nod. I know that script by heart. I hired a private investigator 4 months ago. Michelle continues. He confirmed the affair, but couldn't get solid evidence. Hotel visits, restaurant meetings, but nothing concrete enough for divorce proceedings. Then you sent me those photos, and suddenly I had everything I needed. I'm sorry you're going through this, I tell her. Don't be. You did me a favor. She pulls out her phone, shows me a message. Derek sent this an hour ago. He's begging me to meet with him, to let him explain. Says it's not what I think, that your wife has been manipulating him, that he made mistakes, but he wants to fix our marriage. Are you going to meet him? No, because I also received a very interesting phone call this morning from Southwest Construction's legal counsel. Apparently, Derek and your wife were planning to steal client information and start a competing firm. The company is conducting an internal investigation, and Derek's been placed on administrative leave pending the outcome. My eyebrows rise. They move fast. Corporate theft tends to motivate quick action, Michelle says dryly, especially when it involves proprietary information worth potentially millions in lost contracts. Derek's career is over. Even if they don't press charges, no construction company will touch him after this gets out. How do you feel about that? She's quiet for a moment, staring into her coffee. Satisfied. He destroyed our marriage for your wife, and she destroyed his career. They deserve each other. She looks up at me. My lawyer says I should prepare for Derek to fight dirty in the divorce, to hide assets, claim I was neglectful, maybe even try to paint me as unstable. Lindsay's doing the same thing, I say, telling everyone I'm paranoid, controlling, having a breakdown. It's a standard playbook. So we need to compare notes. Make sure our lawyers coordinate. Michelle pulls out a folder, slides it across the table. This is everything my PI gathered over 4 months. Dates, times, locations where Derek and Lindsay met. Credit card statements showing charges I didn't authorize. Bank account transfers to a separate account I didn't know existed. Sound familiar? I open the folder, scanning the documents. It's almost identical to what I found. Secret accounts, stolen money, carefully planned deception. How much did he take? I ask. $47,000 over the past year. From our joint savings, our kids' college fund, even from an account we set up for home renovations. Her voice is steady, controlled. He was funding his exit strategy while I was planning our future. We spend the next hour sharing information, building a timeline of the affair. Derek and Lindsay first connected at a construction industry conference 15 months ago. Their first hotel stay was 11 months ago in Tucson, charged to a credit card Lindsay opened specifically for the affair. They've been meeting twice a week on average, sometimes more. The worst part, Michelle says quietly, is that I kept trying to save our marriage while he was actively destroying it. I suggested counseling. I planned 8 nights. I kept thinking if I just tried harder, if I was more understanding, he'd come back to me. She shakes her head. I was competing with someone who was never going to fight fair. Lindsay did the same thing to me. I tell her. Made me feel like I wasn't paying enough attention to her, wasn't romantic enough, wasn't present enough. Meanwhile, she was planning her entire future with someone else. Michelle's phone buzzes. She glances at it, then shows me the screen. A text from Derek. Michelle, please. I made mistakes, but I love you. We can fix this. Don't throw away 22 years of marriage over one bad decision. One bad decision, Michelle repeats flatly. He's calling an 11-month affair and corporate theft one bad decision. Are you going to respond? Yes. She types quickly. Talk to my lawyer. Don't contact me again. Then she blocks his number and sets her phone down. There. Done. I respect that. Clean. Final. No room for manipulation. My lawyer suggested something, Michelle says. A joint strategy. Our cases are connected through Derek and Lindsay's affair. If we coordinate our divorce proceedings, present unified evidence, it strengthens both our positions. The judge sees a pattern of behavior, not just one person's word against another. Warren mentioned something similar. Makes sense. Good. Because I want Derek to lose everything, Ken. Not out of spite, though there's some of that. But Because he needs to understand that actions have consequences. That you can't destroy people's lives and walk away unscathed. I raise my coffee cup. To consequences. Michelle clinks hers against mine. To consequences. We're not friends. Not exactly. We're allies. Two people connected by betrayal, fighting back with the one weapon our spouses never expected us to use. The truth. Wednesday afternoon, I get a call from an unknown number. Against my better judgment, I answer. Mr. Cooper? This is Detective Sarah Vance with the Phoenix Police Department, Financial Crimes Unit. I need to speak with you about your wife, Lindsay Cooper. My stomach drops. What about her? We've received a complaint from Southwest Construction regarding theft of proprietary information and possible corporate espionage. Your name came up in the investigation. Can you come to the station this afternoon? 2 hours later, I'm sitting in a small interview room with Detective Vance and her partner, Detective Mills. They're both in their 40s, professional, focused. Vance slides a folder across the table. Mr. Cooper, we need to verify some information. You own Cooper Electric, correct? I do. And you were previously in business with Derek Sullivan approximately 12 years ago. Yes. We were partners for about 18 months before he stole intellectual property and a major contract. I bought him out, and we went our separate ways. Mills leans forward. Did you know that your wife and Mr. Sullivan were planning to start a competing business using stolen client information from Southwest Construction? I found out 2 weeks ago. I turned over all the evidence to my divorce attorney, who forwarded it to Southwest Construction's legal department. Vance opens the folder, shows me documents I recognize. The incorporation papers for Sullivan and Cooper Consulting. The stolen client lists. Budget projections. How did you obtain these files? I found a flash drive hidden in my wife's coat pocket 2 months ago. I made copies for my attorney before returning it to where I found it. Why didn't you come to the police immediately? Because I was trying to process the fact that my wife was cheating on me and planning to destroy me financially. I wasn't thinking about criminal charges. I was thinking about survival. The detectives exchange glances. Mills pulls out another document. Mr. Cooper, are you aware that the house you've been living in for the past 8 years is legally owned by your wife's sister, Kathleen Hughes? I go cold. What? The property at 4782 Desert View Lane is registered to Kathleen Hughes, not you or your wife. According to county records, you've been paying the mortgage on a house you have no legal claim to. My mind races back to 8 years ago. Lindsay handling all the paperwork, telling me she'd set up the deed with both our names, that it was easier for her to coordinate with the title company since I was busy with work. I trusted her. I never checked. I've been paying a mortgage for 8 years on a house I don't own. I say slowly. According to our investigation, yes, your wife and her sister structured it this way deliberately. There are emails between them discussing how to protect the asset in case of divorce. Vance's expression is sympathetic. I'm sorry, Mr. Cooper, but this appears to be long-term financial fraud. How long-term? The emails we found go back 7 years. Lindsay and Kathleen were planning this since the second year of their marriage. 7 years. She's been planning her exit strategy for 7 years, all while I raised her kids, built my business, and paid for a house I'd never owned. Detective Mills slides another document across the table. There's more. We executed a search warrant on Derek Sullivan's home office this morning. We found documentation showing that he never actually dissolved his partnership with you 12 years ago. Legally, on paper, you're still co-owners of the original company, and that company has been accumulating debt. $53,000 in unpaid vendor bills, defaulted equipment leases, tax liens. That's impossible. I bought him out. I have the settlement agreement, which was never properly filed with the state. Sullivan kept the company active as a shell entity and has been using it to hide debt. As the legal co-owner, you're liable for half of that debt. My hands clench into fists on the table. Derek didn't just steal from me 12 years ago. He's been using me as a shield for his financial crimes ever since. We need your testimony, Vance says, against both your wife and Derek Sullivan. Corporate theft, fraud, conspiracy. With your cooperation, we can build solid cases against both of them. What happens to them if they're convicted? Felony charges. Probable prison time. 2 to 5 years depending on the judge. Certainly permanent criminal records. Loss of professional licenses. Financial ruin. I think about Brandon and Madison. This will devastate them. Their mother facing prison, their stepfather testifying against her. But then I think about 7 years of calculated deception. 7 years of Lindsay planning my destruction while I loved her, trusted her, built a life with her. I'll testify. I say, whatever you need. The storage unit is in Tempe, rented under Kathleen Hughes's name. Detective Vance got a warrant based on financial records showing monthly payments from Lindsay's secret credit card. When they cut the lock and roll up the door, I'm standing there with my attorney Christopher Warren, staring at my past. Boxes of my belongings. Not just any belongings. Family heirlooms I thought were lost or donated years ago. My grandfather's watch collection, worth about $20,000. My mother's jewelry, including her engagement ring, valued at $15,000. Photo albums from my childhood. My father's Purple Heart from Vietnam. Military medals. Family documents. She told me these were destroyed in a garage flood 3 years ago. I say quietly, I mourn these things. She watched me grieve and said nothing. Warren is photographing everything with his phone. This is theft. Deliberate, premeditated theft of marital property with intent to deprive you of your inheritance. Detective Mills pulls out a ledger from one of the boxes. Mr. Cooper, you need to see this. It's a handwritten record in Lindsay's writing. Item descriptions, estimated values, potential buyers. She was cataloging everything, planning to sell it all once the divorce was final, and she'd gotten away clean. My grandmother's engagement ring. I read aloud. Estimated value, $40,000. Potential buyer, Scottsdale Estate Jewelers. Contact made. Appraisal scheduled for next month. She was going to sell my grandmother's ring. The ring my mother wore for 43 years. The ring I'd planned to get to Madison someday. There's more. Documentation showing that Lindsay had been systematically undervaluing assets in our marriage. The house I paid for, but didn't own. She claimed it was worth $200,000 for insurance purposes, but recent appraisal showed it was worth $420,000. My business, Cooper Electric, which she told mediators was worth maybe $300,000, when the actual valuation was closer to $850,000. She was planning to walk away with millions while leaving me with debt and nothing. There's something else, Detective Vance says, holding up a folder. Letters from Travis Drummond. Travis, Brandon and Madison's biological father. The man who abandoned them 13 years ago. I open the folder. Letters dating back 9 months. Travis writing to Lindsay, apologizing for leaving, saying he'd gotten his life together, asking to reconnect with the kids. And Lindsay's responses, telling him to wait, that she was working on a plan, that once she divorced me and married Derek, they could work on reintegrating him into Brandon and Madison's lives. She was planning to replace me. I say, not just in her life, but in the kids' lives too. It appears so, Warren says grimly. She was orchestrating a complete erasure of you from every aspect of her world. My phone rings. Brandon. I answer immediately. Ken, you need to know something. His voice is shaking. Mom just showed up at my dorm with Travis. My biological father. She brought him here without warning. Told me it was time to repair our family. That I needed to give him a chance. Where are you now? I left. I'm at the library. I told her I don't want anything to do with Travis. And she lost it. Started yelling about how I'm being ungrateful. How she's my mother, and I need to respect her choices. Stay where you are. I'm coming to get you. I drive to ASU's campus. Find Brandon sitting outside the library looking shell-shocked. He gets in my truck without a word. We drive for a while in silence before he speaks. She really thought I'd just accept Travis back into my life like he didn't abandon us, Brandon says. Like the past 13 years didn't happen. Like you didn't step up and become the father he never was. Your mother is desperate, I tell him. She's losing control of the narrative, losing the divorce, possibly facing criminal charges. She's trying to rewrite history, make herself look like the victim bringing a family back together. It's insane. It's calculated. She's trying to create witnesses who'll testify that she's a good mother, that she was trying to heal family wounds, that I'm the one who destroyed everything. Brandon is quiet for a moment. The detectives called me yesterday. They want me to testify about Mom blackmailing me to keep quiet about the affair. You don't have to do anything you're not comfortable with. I want to, he says firmly. I want to tell the truth. She threatened my education to protect her affair. That's not something a good mother does. That's something a manipulator does. We drive back to Ryan's place where I've been staying. Madison is already there, having driven up from Phoenix after Lindsay tried the same reunion stunt with her. She brought Travis to my school, Madison says, her eyes red from crying, in front of my friends, like it was some heartwarming moment. I told her to leave, and she started screaming about how I'm disrespectful, how she sacrificed everything for us. I hugged both kids. You two did nothing wrong. None of this is your fault. We know, Brandon says, but it still hurts. She's our mom, and she's a stranger. I don't even know who she really is. She's someone who made terrible choices, I tell them, and now she's facing the consequences. That's not on you. That's on her. That night, I get an email from Christopher Warren. The subject line reads, "You need to see this." It's a copy of a document Lindsay filed with the court that afternoon. She's claiming I'm an unfit guardian to Brandon and Madison, that I've manipulated them against her, that I'm emotionally abusive and controlling. She's asking the judge to issue a restraining order preventing me from contacting either of them. A restraining order. Against me. For the kids I raised. I forward the email to Brandon and Madison. Within 10 minutes, both of them have sent formal statements to Warren's office declaring that they're adults who choose to have a relationship with me, that Lindsay's claims are false, and that they'll testify under oath if necessary. The next morning, Warren calls with news. The judge denied Lindsay's restraining order request, he says, and issued a formal warning about filing frivolous motions. Additionally, Southwest Construction has decided to press charges. Lindsay and Derek are being formally charged with corporate espionage, theft of proprietary information, and conspiracy to commit fraud. What's the timeline? Arraignment is set for next week. They'll both be arrested, processed, and released on bond pending trial. He pauses. Ken, this is really happening. Your wife is going to face criminal prosecution. She's not my wife anymore, I tell him. Not in any way that matters. She's just a stranger who tried to destroy my life and failed. The arraignment happens on a Tuesday morning. I'm sitting in the gallery with Michelle Sullivan, watching as Lindsay and Derek are led into the courtroom in handcuffs. Lindsay's wearing an orange jumpsuit, her hair unwashed, makeup gone. She looks nothing like the woman who used to coordinate construction projects in tailored suits. The charges are read: corporate espionage, theft of proprietary information, conspiracy to commit fraud, embezzlement of marital assets. Lindsay's attorney, some public defender who looks fresh out of law school, enters a plea of not guilty. Derek's lawyer does the same. The prosecutor stands. Your Honor, the state requests that bail be set at $250,000 for each defendant. Both have demonstrated flight risk through their systematic planning to relocate and start a business in another state. Both have access to hidden funds and assets. Lindsay's attorney argues for lower bail. The judge isn't impressed. Bail is set at $250,000 each. Next court date is set for preliminary hearing in 30 days. The gavel comes down. Lindsay's eyes find mine across the courtroom. She mouths something that might be please or might be a curse. I don't react. Just sit there, stone-faced, next to Michelle, who squeezes my hand once. Outside the courthouse, reporters are waiting. Southwest Construction made this case very public, warning other companies about corporate espionage. I give a brief statement. I trusted my wife and my former business partner. They exploited that trust for personal gain. I'm grateful to law enforcement and the judicial system for holding them accountable. Christopher Warren pulls me aside as we're leaving. The house situation is resolved. Judge ruled that because you paid the mortgage for 8 years under fraudulent pretenses, you have equitable ownership. Kathleen Hughes has been ordered to transfer the deed to you or face charges as an accessory to fraud. She chose to transfer, so I own the house. You own the house. Plus, the frozen accounts have been released to you. The $62,000 Lindsay stole, plus the $47,000 Derek stole from Michelle, all recovered and returned. The storage unit contents are being returned to you this week. I know, I'm processing. What about Brandon and Madison's college funds? Fully intact. Lindsay never touched them because they were in irrevocable trusts. Smart move on your part, setting those up. That night, I take Brandon and Madison to dinner. We sit at a quiet restaurant, and for the first time in weeks, we talk about something other than the disaster their mother created. I got accepted to ASU's engineering program. Brandon says. Full-time, starting next semester. That's amazing, I tell him. I'm proud of you. Madison is quieter, picking at her food. Ken, what happens to Mom now? She'll probably take a plea deal, I say honestly. Her attorney will negotiate reduced charges in exchange for testimony against Derek and cooperation with Southwest Construction's civil lawsuit. She'll do some prison time, maybe 18 months to 3 years, then probation. And after that, she rebuilds her life. But it won't be the life she planned. No high-paying career, no Derek, no stolen money. Just consequences. Do you hate her? Madison asks. I think about that. No, I don't hate her. I'm disappointed, angry, hurt. But hate takes too much energy. I'd rather focus on moving forward. Brandon raises his water glass. To moving forward. We clink glasses. It's not a celebration, exactly. More like a marker. The end of one chapter, the beginning of another. 9 months later, I'm standing in my new office. Cooper Electric expanded into commercial solar installation, and business is booming. The company that tried to compete with us using stolen client lists never launched. Derek took a plea deal and is serving 2 years in federal prison. Lindsay got 22 months and 3 years probation. Southwest Construction offered me a contract as their preferred electrical subcontractor. Turns out, proving you have integrity, even when it costs you something, is worth more than any stolen client list. Brandon graduated with his associate degree and is working part-time at Cooper Electric while finishing his bachelor's. Madison got a full scholarship to ASU and is studying business management. Both kids still call me regularly, still come over for Sunday dinners, still introduce me as their dad. Michelle Sullivan finalized her divorce 6 months ago. She got the house, full custody of her kids even though they're adults, and a significant settlement. She started her own construction consulting firm and is doing well. We meet for coffee occasionally, two survivors who understand what it takes to rebuild after betrayal. I'm dating again. Nothing serious yet, but I'm open to it. Learning to trust again takes time, but I'm getting there. The house on Desert View Lane, the one I almost lost, the one Lindsay tried to steal through her sister, I sold it. Too many bad memories. I bought a smaller place in North Phoenix, modern, clean mine. No ghosts, no lies, just space to build something new. I got a letter from Lindsay 3 months in her sentence. Long, rambling, full of excuses and half apologies. She claimed Derek manipulated her, that she was going through a midlife crisis, that she never meant to hurt anyone. At the end, she asked if I could forgive her, if we could maybe talk when she got out. I never responded. Some things don't deserve a reply. Travis Drummond tried to contact Brandon and Madison after Lindsay's arrest, claiming he wanted to be there for them during this difficult time. Both kids blocked his number. They'd already learned the difference between someone who shows up when it's convenient and someone who shows up when it matters. On a Friday evening, I'm at Ryan's place for a barbecue. His kids are running around the yard, and his wife is laughing about something. It's normal, simple, real. You doing okay, man? Ryan asks, handing me a beer. Yeah, I say, and I mean it. I really am. No regrets. I think about that question, about the 8 years with Lindsay, the lies, the pain, the betrayal, but also about Brandon and Madison, about learning what I'm capable of surviving, about discovering who I really am when everything is stripped away. No regrets, I tell him. I love who I thought she was. I grieve when I lost that illusion, but I'm not mourning anymore. I'm just living, and that's the truth. I'm not the man who trusted blindly anymore, but I'm not bitter either. I'm just someone who learned that the only person you can truly count on is yourself. And sometimes, that's enough. Brandon texts me a photo. It's him and Madison at his college graduation ceremony, both of them smiling, holding up a sign that reads, "Thanks, Dad." Not stepdad, just Dad. I save the photo, set it as my phone background, and smile. Some stories don't end with revenge or perfect justice. They end with survival, growth, and the quiet satisfaction of knowing you chose dignity over destruction. That's enough for me.